Hello and welcome to this lesson. In this particular lesson, we are going to be talking about logic-based questions for IBPS AFO exam. Okay. Now, the moment I talk about logic-based questions, the question type that comes to my mind is the Parajumbles. Okay. So today we are going to be discussing about Parajumbles. There are certain rules that you should know with respect to Parajumbles. So first we are going to discuss that, and after that we are going to be taking an example and solving that as well. Okay. Ready? Let's start. Remember, the rule for the very first sentence, here you go. Number one, the first sentence should be introductory and generic in nature. Okay, so this is the very first time you're going to be reading about some topic, right? So can I dive into the details right away? No, right? It's usually introductory. You get some feel of whatever is being spoken about. There is some kind of a general introduction that you get, right? So that is point one. It has to be introductory and general. You cannot have subject pronouns. You cannot have he, she, we here. Why? Because if you use he, she, we, there should be a previous reference. And if it's the first sentence, you cannot have a previous reference. You cannot have certain linking words like moreover, in addition, furthermore, for example, for instance. You cannot have these. Why? Once again, the same reason that you will have to need a previous reference. Finally, you will also have full forms of abbreviations. Okay, so you can see the full form of RBC written here, right? And then in bracket, it's written RBC. Now the subsequent sentences will simply have RBC, but the first sentence will have the full form. So that is another clue for you. Okay, the other sentences after the first one usually are strung together by some kind of logic. Okay, so this logic can be of different dimensions. You can have maybe this entire set of sentences joined together by an explanation. Maybe the author is trying to give you an explanation, or maybe there is a description of a process, that A to B, B to C, C to D. Maybe it's a process. Maybe it's a list of positives or a list of negatives or a chronology of events. Okay, so the structure of logic can be different, but it definitely has an underlying logic. So yes, Parajumbles do have rules and tricks, but after a point, you have to stick to concrete logic. It's the best way to solve this. Okay. Is there a rule for the final sentence, the very last sentence? Yes, there are certain rules. What are these rules? Number one, it can be just a continuation from the penultimate one. Okay. Or it can be a clear-cut concluding sentence, which means maybe it's like a summary or a recommendation, advice, or an inference. Okay, a clear-cut conclusion that sums up whatever has been described earlier. Okay, so you look out for certain linking words like thus, therefore, hence, consequently, to summarize. Look out for these keywords. These keywords are usually used with your last sentence. Okay, so these are the rules as such. Now let's take an example so that it's very clear for you. This is the example question. Okay, so pause your screens if you want to read it in detail. I'll be moving on to the solutions now. Let us first identify the very first sentence. What's the first sentence? What was the rule? Remember, it has to be generic in nature. See option A here. Okay, sentence A says all of this began. So it's clearly hinting at some previous incident, right? So it cannot be my first sentence. Look at C. C says if things go as per the plan, the website will be up. The website. So I'm talking about something specific here again, which means something has been referred to earlier. So I can't use that. Or sentence D says it will also provide. So again, you're using the pronoun it, which means I'm referring to something. Okay, so I've eliminated A, I've eliminated C, I've eliminated D. B is the only sentence that remains. Read D, it's generic and introductory to protect devotees from being cheated by fake websites. The endowments department has decided to launch a website that will allow bookings of darshan tickets. Generic, introductory, fits the bill in terms of being your first sentence, right? So B moves to the top, you can see. Now, let's identify the second sentence. The second sentence, well, all of this began, it kind of sounds that it's talking about more incidents or at least a list of events, right? Just not one. So I can eliminate A here. Look at C. If things go as per the plan, the website will be up and running. Okay, maybe. Look at D. It will also provide other services. So B talks about what the website will do. It will allow bookings. And then D says it will also provide other services. Okay, so B and D are the best match here. Okay, they are the closest. You can say hey, C is also close enough, but is it as close as D? No, right? D is a better fit. So B and D, as you can see, D has moved up and it's now in the second spot. Now let's identify the third sentence. Now in D you say it will also provide other services. Okay. Now A says all of this began, and C says if things go as per plan, the website will be up and running. So B and D have spoken about the website, what kind of value it will add. C says when this website will be up and running, that is before Ugadi. And then A says all of this began when. So A is clearly talking about a separate incident. It is not clearly attached to the website theme that B, D, and probably C is talking about. Right? So A clearly sounds like a concluding sentence for me. C still is part of the group with B, D, and C. Right? Because they're all still talking about the website. So I would put C at the top. So it's B, then D, then C. And then you have A when which says all of this began after. So a person lodged a complaint with the police that 4 websites were cheating. So I say all of this began. So now I'm deviating from just talking about the website, and now I'm talking about how all of this started. Right? So B, D, C, A is my correct order. Okay, so I hope you learned how you should solve parajumbles through this lesson. Do like the video, do comment if you have any queries, do subscribe to the channel, it's really important, and do hit the bell icon, because each time we have these lessons and videos coming up, you get a notification and you don't miss any of these lessons. Okay, all the very best, keep studying. Bye bye.